Of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Later this week, we'll hear from World War II veterans who were there when the Japanese attacked. Tonight, a man who grew up in the Hawaiian Islands shares his memories of Pearl Harbor through a child's perspective.
The surprise attack was a staggering blow to our Navy at Pearl Harbor.
The airstrike began at 7:55 a.m. Hawaii time. It was Sunday morning.
On December 7th, 8 years old, I climbed a mango tree and watched the airplanes go by. And at that time I thought, gee, what a realistic maneuver this is. But in fact, what was happening was they were bombing Pearl Harbor. Most vivid thing was so many fighter planes shooting live ammo.
George Yoshida lived with his parents on the island of Oahu. They were born there. They were Nisei, which means second-generation Japanese. His mother was only 16 at the time of her arranged marriage. A year later, George was born. As a young boy, he vividly remembers what happened shortly after the attack.
2 FBI agents came to the house and took my father for interrogation. And he never uttered a word as far as what happened, and he took it to the grave with him.
Despite the discrimination and distrust, Japanese Americans who lived in Hawaii and in the mainland were fiercely patriotic. Many families sent sons to fight in the war while they lived in internment camps. George and his family were not among those sent away.
My mom used to knit socks. And the reason she was knitting socks was she wanted to make sure that the interns as well as the volunteers that went for basic training and to train for war got warm socks and scarves.
George, 78 now, remembers helping knit those socks. Perhaps it's why today he volunteers a large amount of his time to serve the Japanese American veterans of World War II. The ones who volunteered to fight a war that came to the shores of their home.
They proved they were Americans, and it's interesting. It took them this long to tell their story, but I'm glad it's being told right now.
9 News reporters Dave Delozier and Chris Vanderveen are with a group of Pearl Harbor survivors and the Greatest Generations Foundation as they return to Pearl Harbor for the 70th anniversary of the attack this Wednesday. Dave and Chris will file reports this Tuesday and Wednesday on 9 News at 9 and 10.